You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
Alright, what up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Brown Mamba Radio. For those out there who don't know, my name is Jackson. And happy Tuesday to everybody out there. Hopefully, you already got your week started off on the right track. And coming at you guys today on a Tuesday to recap, mainly to recap all of the NFL action that happened from week one. And but like I said, mainly coming at you on a Tuesday because, well, two of the local teams, and yes, the Raiders are considered a local team more so than the Rams and the Chargers. But because, again, two of the local teams played on Monday, and I just felt it wouldn't be right if I waited and all that stuff. So that's why we're coming at you today with, like I said, all the stuff that happened this weekend, mainly from the NFL, how my fantasy teams did, and a little bit of everything else that kind of went down this past weekend. And like I said, starting right off the bat with all of the NFL action that happened, and starting again, to be honest, I'm a little bit more happy or a little bit more excited than I thought I'd be that football's back. I mean, not as excited as I've been in the past, but it's still nice to just be able to have a day where I can just sit on my couch, eat some snacks, drink some beer in my underwear, and watch games all day long. And also, week one is, definitely the week where it's good for a whole lot of, like you're watching a game and all of a sudden you go, oh shit, I didn't know this guy was on this team now. Like there was a lot of that this weekend, especially considering how little I paid attention to football in the off season over the summer and stuff. Like mainly it was like Brandon Marshall on the Seahawks now, like a lot of that, But yeah, so getting into week one and what happened. Oh, before I get into that, I want to say I forgot about my picks. I forgot about making my picks. I will be doing that again. I did pretty well the first year I did this. Not as good the next season, but this year is the year. And I'm gonna go through all the as I go over all the games quickly. I'm gonna let you know what my picks were, and I'm gonna be 100% honest going through the games. I'm not gonna rig it to where I say, oh yeah, I picked everything correctly. Like I knew that the Steelers and the Browns were gonna end in a tie, and no. So I'm gonna keep it a buck with all you guys, and but then going forward on the Friday when I preview all the games and stuff like that, I will be making my picks and taking note of everything throughout this year and tally it up at the end. So again, starting off with the most recent game we had involving again two of our local teams, the Rams and the Raiders played on Monday night. John Gruden's first game back coaching in like almost 20 years, and the game started out great for the Raiders. They had a hot opening drive, and got everybody excited, but that was about it. That really was about it, other than Jared Cook going off. And if he keeps it up, he's going to end up getting traded. You know what I mean? Can't have anybody too good on the team out here. So, yeah, the Raiders, I mean, they didn't look at... If you listen to the episode last week, or the last episode, then you know how frustrated I was with the Raiders, how, just generally frustrated, I guess is the right word. That's the best thing I can say. Generally frustrated I was with the Raiders, and they weren't as bad as I thought they'd be. The defense didn't look as bad, and then it's some people are saying the defense didn't look as bad. One could argue, me being in that one, that just the Rams didn't come out looking for whatever reason, just didn't come out looking as hot as as good as they thought as they should. They changed that, made their adjustment to the second half, and look like the Rams that we thought we would get this season. But like I said, they started off a little slow. Then they just started to pick up the pace and get going. Everyone, the Rams look much better on defense and offense, especially on the offensive side. Gurley got going, Goff got going a little bit, and they just the Raiders couldn't handle it. They like I said, started strong but just kind of faded out and couldn't handle it. But yeah, like I said, it's going back to the Raiders. I was really, really, really upset for the most part going into the season, and for the most part, I believe I will be pretty. It just won't be that fun of a season. But you know what? Being the half glass full kind of guy that I am, I'm like, you know what? Sure, there's a whole lot of uncertainty going on with this team and a whole lot of uncertainty that could happen this season. But you know what? As much as uncertain as I am and how kind of down on the team as I am, you can flip it if you're just as pessimistic or frustrated or upset or whatever as I am and not in high spirits about this team. You know what? Going forward, if there's any kind of progress with Derek Carr or with the offense or with the defense, if they get a win, it'll be that much sweeter. It'll be that much better because they're probably going to come few and far in between, and that's I guess that's something nice to look forward to. Is the wins will be that much better when a player does well. Like Jared Cook, that was great. I was like, whoa, Jared Cook! I didn't see that coming. And so, like I said, you got to try to find the positive in everything. So, I guess there's that to look forward to. But again, just not as bad of a start as everyone thought. But then again, that can be attributed to the Rams. Not really having it in the first half, but like I said, the Rams look like they'll be fine. The Raiders look like they'll be fine, okay. But that was that game. Then the other game that involving the local team, the Chargers and the Chiefs. Again, hate to say I told you so, but and it is a little early, and it is week one. It's just week one, and everyone loves doing the big overreactions that they think just based on the very first game of the season is going to determine, how the rest of how their entire season will go, and obviously that's very not true. But everyone, it's just that's what gets headlines and all that stuff, and yeah. But it's always fun and stuff to kind of say that. But with all that being said, the Chargers, as much hype as they got over the offseason, as much as people were saying that they could be one of the best teams in the AFC, they're so talented on paper, and I hate to say I told you so, but the Chargers look like the same old Chargers, man. Just making mistakes. I don't know how many dropped passes there were and not even just dropped passes, but dropped passes that were going to be for big plays that would have been touchdowns. Like, Phillip Rivers put that shit on the money and just missed it, or the receivers missed it. But like I said, yeah, just mistakes, just all over the place, shooting themselves in the foot, missed field goals again. It's just like, how can they not figure this out? And like I said, just they just look like the same old Chargers, man. And like I said it in the last episode, they have it is a consistent track record of this. And why should this season be any different? And I get it. Like, sure, eventually it'll turn around, but I mean, to go from not making the playoffs to Super Bowl is like a freaking pipe dream, especially with this Chargers team. So, I mean, like I said, and as a Raider fan, it makes me very happy to be able to say all this. And so, there was that. But also as a Raider fan, it scares me on the other side of things, because the Chiefs look like the real deal Holyfield on offense. I mean, Patrick Mahomes looks like a legit quarterback who has got a fucking cannon for an arm. Tyreek Hill was going off, and he did work for me in fantasy. Thank you, Tyreek Hill. Kareem Hunt did pretty well himself, and and they put up what was the final score on that one? I think it was like, I don't know. Did they put up a 40 burger? Sorry, where is it? No, almost. They put up a 38 burger, but and they did all that, and as high powered as it was, Tyreek Hill had a return for a touchdown. He had a long reception and run for touchdown. Like I said, all this stuff, and they put up all these numbers without Travis Kelce having a huge day. So they haven't even unleashed that beast yet, and they're looking pretty good. So like I said, as you know, as much as the Chargers disappointed, the Chiefs did not on the old hype train. So like I said, Chiefs look pretty damn good on offense. Their defense wasn't as bad, but then again, like I said, it is still week 1. They're gonna get guys back. They didn't have Eric Berry out there and stuff like that, and they'll figure it out. So Chiefs, man, looking pretty good. A little scared as an AFC West or as a Raider fan in the AFC West. So there's that. Then the other game on Monday night, Jets Lions. You know, just starting with the good things first. Sam Darnold and the Jets. You know, if you didn't watch the game, you'd think like, what in the world is Sam Darnold? Is savior Sam Darnold really the savior of the franchise? Just slow your roll. Sam Darnold looks pretty good as an SC Trojan fan myself. Sam Darnold looks pretty good. I was excited for that. You know, it didn't start off great. You know, first play of the game for him, or first throw of his career was a pick six. And but you know what? Hey, when that happens, all you can go there from there is up. So, and that's what he did. He looked pretty good. You know, accurate deep balls. That was the big thing. Was his accuracy was in question coming into the season as a rookie. But like I said, Sam Darnold looked pretty good. The Jets defense looked pretty good and all that. And they, like I said, they played pretty well. But like I said, you had to have watched that game, because a lot of that can be contributed to the Lions just look completely discombobulated. And that's the only way it really worked. And it sounds silly, but they just looked awful, and like they didn't know. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing out there on offense and defense. The defense looked bad, but the offense looked really bad. Like Matt Stafford looked really bad. Now I don't know if it looked like he had gotten hurt during the game, like something about with his leg, and he was kind of limping and like a little bit walking with a little bit of a gimp. But then he got that big hit where he got like sandwiched between those two guys right before the end of the half, and they just look bad, like really, really bad. And I don't know if it's just a week 1 thing. I don't know what's going on there, but that was bad. That just looked really bad. And I don't know. I feel bad for Lions fans, because that was not a good start. And if that is a sign of things to come, it is going to be a very, very long season for the Lions fans. But sticking with the NFC North, Sunday night game, probably the best, easily the game of the week. Probably one of the best games in a while, because of two players. That game was a tale of two halves from two players, between Khalil freaking Mack and Aaron freaking Rodgers. You know, Khalil freaking Mack, who is turns out Khalil Mack's pretty good at football. Turns out he's pretty good at football. And he's earning every single penny of that new contract that he got. In the first half, he just absolutely dominated the game. He had the strip sack. He had a pick six, and he had like 2 or 3 sacks in the first half, and all that. But he was definitely on a pitch count, because he didn't play as much in the second half. They don't want to rush into it too much with him. But yeah, man, Khalil Mack's pretty freaking good at getting to the quarterback. And you know what? The Raiders could have used something like that, but hey, I don't know. The Raiders could have used a guy that could pressure the quarterback in the second half of their game on Monday night. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an irrational fan, talking into a microphone. So what do I know? But yeah, Khalil Mack was pretty freaking amazing. Like I said, put up all those stats, and he was the first person to have like a strip sack, a pick six, and whatever, and all that stuff in a game since he did it like 3 years ago. So yeah, Khalil Mack, pretty good at football. There's some analysis for you, but it was, like I said, it was a tale of two halves, because in the second half, the fire-breathing dragon, Aaron Rodgers, pull the Paul Pierce, pull the pee-pee, went Paul Pierce on everybody, and had a little bit of a scare. I haven't seen anything. My sources aren't telling me anything yet as far as the status on Aaron Rodgers, as far as what happened with him and how his leg is holding up. But like I said, he had that little bit of a scare, had to be carted off the field in the first half, and then came back in the second half, and just like I said, just classic Aaron Rodgers. All 3 touchdowns in the second half, like 200 something yards, just nuts stuff, and they pulled out the win. So like I said, the Bears fans should be happy though. Don't get too down on themselves. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers has done it to a lot of teams, but the Bears look like they might be kind of frisky. Not gonna lie, look like they might be a little frisky. So those are the big games and all that stuff, and I'm already kind of trying to prevent myself from rambling too much. I'm gonna kind of just rapid fire through everything. Thursday night, Eagles Falcons. Both teams, like I talked about a little bit, they didn't look as good as people thought they would, especially the Falcons. But like I said, it's still week 1, so you don't want to look into it too much. But again, like similar to the Chargers, the Falcons look like they just same old team, man, making the same mistakes. Marching down the field quickly and briskly and just finding Julio Jones, but for whatever reason can't find Julio Jones in the end zone, or anybody for that matter in the end zone. And like I said, it's I don't know, got to figure it out over there. Eagles too, defending champs, just waiting for Carson Wentz to get back. And like I said, it looks like they're gonna need him back pretty quickly because like I said, Nick Foles didn't look as hot as he did at the end of last season. But yeah, there was that. Then going through the games pretty much in order here. Bengals, Colts. It's good to have Andrew Luck back in the league and playing again. The game itself wasn't too exciting or anything. But like I said, I like how Andrew Luck and the Colts had Andrew Luck picking up where he left off with his 50+ pass attempts. On his first game back after having a bum shoulder. So like I said, just I don't know, just never ceases to amaze me with those Colts. But like I said, it's good to have Andrew Luck back. Bengals, whatever, week 1. Ravens, Bills, man, Bills are the shits, just like we thought they'd be, and Peterman and I don't know, man. This is 2 like really, really, really bad starts now for him, and it's almost like you cannot keep playing this guy, and it's sad to say, but you cannot keep playing this guy because it is like historically bad and just embarrassingly bad how bad he's been playing, and it's going to be a long season for the Bills, and especially if Josh Allen isn't as good either. So there's that, and then also on the flip side of things with the Ravens, I know a lot of people are saying, whoa, maybe the Ravens aren't as bad as everyone thinks they are, and then all these Ravens fans are coming out of the woodworks saying all this stuff. But you know what? Ravens and Flacco fans, calm your tits, okay? They're not as good as everyone says, obviously, or as that score indicates, because the Bills are just that bad. So it's like I said, calm your tits. And same thing can go for the Buccaneers. On the next game with the Bucs and the Saints, just calm down a little bit, all right? They just for whatever reason happened to catch the Saints defense on a bad note. I really don't know what it was. That was just weird. That was just a weird game. They just caught a lot of they just capitalized on the mistakes. Honestly, a lot of deep touchdowns and stuff like that. But Ryan Fitzpatrick looked actually pretty good, and I know Ryan Fitzpatrick gets a lot of hate. And all that stuff, and I've personally never thought he was that bad. Like I said, I don't think he was. He obviously wasn't always very great or anything, or whatever. But I never thought he was as bad as people thought. He was always just a serviceable guy, and he showed it. He played pretty well, and that's not good for Jameis Winston, who is looking to be on his last leg. He's already serving a 3-game suspension for some off the field issues. He's already got, and on top of that, he's just not been producing on the field. So it's like I said, just doesn't look good for Jameis Winston. But with the Saints, even though they gave up 48 points, I think it is. What was it? 48 points. Where'd it go? Where'd the game go? Oh yeah, 48 points. Even though they gave up 48 points on defense, I wouldn't full on go in panic mode yet, because they still put up 40 points themselves, and that's a good sign going forward. That defense is talented enough and good enough as we saw last year to be able to fix the mistakes. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what was going on there, but they'll be able to fix those mistakes. And like I said, them scoring 40 points on offense is still a good sign, at least in my opinion. Drew Brees looked great. Alvin Kamara picking up where he left off, especially since Mark Ingram's not going to be here for the next couple games. But yeah, that, like I said, just the defense. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure that's just a one-time thing where they just kind of, like I said, just first game back, kind of just all over the place kind of thingy whenever it happens. But like I said, the 40 burger that they put up themselves is, like I said, is enough to not full on be in panic mode just yet. And then with the Pats and Texans, pretty straightforward here. Pats gonna Pats, do their thing. Tom Brady looks pretty good. Like I said, they don't have all the offensive weapons or as many offensive weapons as they've had in the past. But, like I said, they still got Tom Brady, and he does what he does best. Found Gronk a couple times, making the most out of what he's got. I wish he could have done that with Chris Hogan a little bit more. That would have really helped me out in fantasy. But, like I said, their Pats are gonna Pats. Do what they do. And then the Texans, it just looks like they're getting back into the swing of things. They got Deshaun Watson back. He's got to get back into the swing of things. Feel it out, get like game reps and all that stuff under his feet. Literally. Like I said, it looks like they'll be all right. I wouldn't be too worried. Their defense played pretty well. Like I said, they got some new additions on the team. They got some guys back. So like I said, the Texans should be all right going forward. Then another big game, good game. Niners, Vikings, and the Vikings look pretty good, man. They look pretty damn good. Cannot lie. Kirk Cousins, didn't do a whole lot of traditional Kirk Cousins things, so that's good for them. Excuse me, but like I said, Kirk Cousins looked all right. The defense looked pretty good as well. They got to Jimmy G, forced him to throw some turnover or throw some interceptions and stuff like that, and gave him his first loss as a starter, which is good. And so, like I said, the Vikings look like they'll be pretty good or as good as everyone thought they'd be. Niners, I know a lot of people are going to be talking a lot of shit, especially because it's Jimmy G and getting a loss, throwing some interceptions and whatever. But you know what? All things considered, and those things being, doesn't have a whole lot of offensive help in the first place. And then on top of that, they lost Marcus Goodwin, for a little while. Who knows how long he's going to be out? And on top of that, the Vikings defense is really, really good. Like everyone had, the Vikings defense as one of, if not the best defense in the league. And he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good against them. So, like I said, I think the Niners fans will be all right if they can stay healthy, that's the main thing, is if they can stay healthy with the offensive guys that they've got, they might be able to do all right. And it's just like I said, maybe not this season for them, but like I said, going forward, if they can get some better weapons and stuff like that, that the Niners should be all right. And then this one, the Titans Dolphins, it's too wonky of a game to even correctly or intelligently analyze this game or evaluate this game, just because of all the rain delays and all that stuff, and it just kind of really screwed things up. So even though the Dolphins won, whatever, it's just kind of like whatever. It's not much you can take away from that game. Then the Jags and the Giants. Jags defense looked pretty damn good as well. They're still the strength of the team, but the biggest question coming into the season was where the offense or where they're gonna get offense from, and if they can seriously really consider relying on Blake Bortles to win them games and stuff. And that's still going to be a question. I don't even know who those receivers are. They don't have their top guys as much anymore. And on top of that, I think, T.J. Yeldon got hurt? Or was it Leonard Fournette? I think it was one of them. I think Fournette. But, Fournette it's Leonard Fournette, which is tough. Because, like I said, he was going to be one of those top guys where they're going to find offense from. And so, like I said, now he's out. They still got T.J. Yeldon, but, it's hard to replace a guy like Leonard Fournette. But again, the defense still looked pretty good. Got the win, but like I said, that offense, man. Hopefully they can figure things out for their sake in the long run. But on the flip side, the Giants, they're not gonna be the best team out there, and they're probably not going to have that great of a season, but at least they'll be interesting and maybe fun for at least the fans. At least Saquon Barkley looked great. He looked like he's going to be around for a little while. OBJ looked good as well. He looked like he's getting back into the swing of things. Like he hasn't missed a step. So like I said, at least it'll be fun and something for the Giants fans to look forward to. Then easily the worst game of the week, Steelers Browns. The first tie in a while, I think, since like an Eagles did it or something like that a little while ago. I don't remember, but it's just the first tie in a while, and just the most Browns-ish kind of game that the Browns could have had. Steelers turned it over 6 times and somehow didn't lose. But at the same token, the Browns forced 6 turnovers and somehow didn't win. They didn't lose, but they still didn't win. And like I said, it's just like I said, not much you can take away from this game either. I know a lot of things with the Steelers. There's a lot of talk that they're saying, a lot of people are just it sounds like sour grapes with the Le'Veon Bell thing, saying, well, we don't really need him because we have James Conner now, blah, blah, blah. But, I'm sure that if they had Le'Veon Bell, instead of tying that game, they would have won because, sure, James Conner had great individual day, but as a team, they just didn't win and whatever. And it was funny how they were, the line was like celebrating like very, very extra. Their celebrations were very, very extra when he scored and stuff. And on top of that, man, they just got to get Le'Veon Bell back. Just get James Conner's haircut, man. I don't even know what's going on there. Like, I get being fashion forward and all that, and I'm all for that, but man, I'm just very confused. I'm very, very confused. But Steelers, man, they look like they got to fix some things. If they couldn't beat the Browns like that in week 1, that to them that should count just as much as a loss. But their defense looks pretty good. TJ Watt looks like he's going to be pretty damn good for them. Casey Hayward as well, and like I said, their linebackers, everything, they'll be fine. But the Browns, man, it's kind of similar to the Giants. They don't look like they'll be great or good or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but they finally have some interesting players for them. And finally, it's been quite some time, and they finished in the bottom of the league, so they've gotten some top picks and stuff. But it looks like they finally got some good guys. Myles Garrett obviously looks great. He looks like he'll be a force to be reckoned with on that defense. Jarvis Landry, just finally they got like a solid kind of like a receiver. They finally have like a receiver, wide receiver, an NFL level wide receiver on their team. Tyrod Taylor, whatever. I don't know how long it's going to be until they get Baker Mayfield in there. Chubb, the running back, looks like he's got some something with him. But like I said, they'll at least be a little bit more interesting in years past. And just finally, thing with the Browns, man, that stat that them being 0-0-1 with the tie is their best start to a season since 2004. I thought it was fake. Like, I'm sure everyone thought it was fake. But that stat is so... I don't know if it's so depressingly hilarious or hilariously depressing. But either way, it is hilarious and depressing at the same time. And that's probably the most Browns kind of stat that that you could ever see. So kudos to them for not losing. So they're still undefeated, and the road to being undefeated is still in play for them. So kudos to them for that. Last couple games, Cowboys Panthers. Honestly, whoever thought that the Cowboys would be better after losing some key players in Dez, who sure he was, not as productive as he'd been in seasons past, but still, they lost a key guy in Dez. They lost their kicker. They lost a couple other guys, and now on top of that, they lost their All-Pro center to like some health. It's a health issue and all that. Like I said, they're just not as good as they were last season, which wasn't very good last season either. So, like I said, and it looks like it could be, pretty bad season for the Cowboys as well. And like I said, I don't know, man. Like I said, they were my surprisingly bad team, or picked for surprisingly bad. going into the season, but I don't know, man. We'll have to see how they do. But the Panthers, like again, them too, though, they're getting the swing of things. But Cam looked pretty good. They weren't setting the world on fire or anything in that game, but Cam looked pretty good. He looks like he's ready to have a good season again. Like I said, it's just not much to take from that game either. And then the last two games too, not much to take from Redskins and the Cardinals. Both teams won't be that good, honestly. Like I said, the Redskins might be like their record could be okay just because the NFC East looks like it won't be very strong. But their record could be okay or on the lower end of good, but they will not be a good team by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, it won't reflect that. And then the Cards they'll be just not good at all. Like I said, I don't know what I don't know. It's gonna be sorry Cardinals fans. It's gonna be a long season for you guys down there in Arizona. And then the last one, Seahawks Broncos again. Two more teams who are gonna be in the middle of the bottom of the pack. So ultimately it doesn't really matter. But Case Keenum, started off slow, struggled a little bit, but eventually they kind of found a way to rally back. Got the win, and like I said, if the Seahawks, man, I've said it in the last episode, if this season is huge for the Seahawks because it'll determine whether they choose to rebuild or whether they choose to try and keep things going. And if they wanted to do the latter and keep things going, this is a game that they needed to win. They needed to show that they can beat a team like this. And that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. So, I don't know. Seahawks, man, that's tough. Tough for them. Tough juice for them. So, yeah, that was this past Sunday's or this past weekend's slate of games. And I know, like I mentioned earlier, week one overreactions are always, something that always happen regardless, even though we shouldn't overreact because it's week one, and so many times things have happened in week one that everyone's like, "Whoa, is this gonna happen?" Whoa, and then obviously that's not the case. But I'm not gonna really overreact because it's week one. But these are some of my favorite overreactions. I touched on it, before. What's wrong with the Lions and Matt Stafford, and there might be some legitimacy to this one because they looked so bad. Same thing, are we sure that the Bucs, the Ravens, or Flacco Fitzpatrick are bad? They're saying it's the old guy renaissance now, but again, the Ravens played probably the worst team in the league, and the Bucs just happened to catch the Saints, I guess, on a bad day. And then another one: do the Steelers actually need Le'Veon Bell? Yes, they do. But as they need him more than he needs them, that's why he's sitting out. And you know what? It's more of like people are saying like, what is he accomplishing with this? Like, what is he doing? Because there's the thing where he lost I think it said he lost like $800,000 by not playing this game or something like that. And but like, you know what? People saying, what is he accomplishing by sitting out? It's like, listen, he's just saving his body because he's going to be a free agent after this season, and he knows that his best chance of getting another contract is if he stays healthy, and he can't get hurt if he doesn't play. So, and then I was telling a lot of people this. They're asking me if I pick first, who should I take first with running back? Should I take Gurley or Le'Veon Bell? And I'm like, with the thing with Le'Veon Bell is, again, he's in his last season, or in a contract year, and at the same time, it's the thing with the Steelers know that he might leave, so they're gonna want to get the most out of him, and they might run him into the ground. There's like that 300 number touch rule or something for running backs. I forget what it is off the top of my head. Like running back, hang on, we'll Google running back. Is it the 370? Yeah, it's like that. There it is. Yeah, the curse of the 370, where it's like, there's that number. Like, look it up. It's like there's like this rule, and then they're like the only guys that have done over that is like Gurley and Le'Veon Bell, but Le'Veon Bell's done like 3 times already, and so It's like if they get worn out, and we saw it happen to DeMarco Murray. The Cowboys ran him into the ground, and then when it was his contract year, they just let him walk, and then he just wasn't the same after that. And so, the man just wants to get paid, man. The man needs his money, and like I said, there's a long documented history of teams squeezing as much juice out of the players as they can. Then when it comes time to getting their payday, they just let them walk and they don't do anything. And that is a problem that goes back to their CBA and all this stuff. That's another conversation for another time. But I have no problem whatsoever with what Le'Veon Bell is doing. And the players do everything they can to make these teams a lot of money, and they deserve their fair share of some of that money, since they are the ones putting in the work on the field. But there's that, and then the last overreaction I mentioned: can the Browns go undefeated? That one's more of a joke than anything, but it's still pretty funny because it is in play. It is in play for some reason. But that is it for the regular, real football. Now it's time for some fantasy football, which was not too good of a fantasy for your boy, because not a good start. 0-1 in both leagues. Got spanked in my family league, and lost by 1 damn point in the fantasy league. You best believe I'm about to get pretty damn active on the waiver wire this week. Don't want to bore you with all the scores. I already bored you enough with all my my takes from this past weekend. But typical good players that were typical to play well. Mahomes did well. Tyreek Hill did well. Those guys. I left a lot of points on my bench. Definitely in the fantasy league where I lost by 1 point. Should have won that. But I mean, whatever. It happens. That's just the way it goes. And again, it's week 1. Feeling things out. And like I said, I'm gonna revamp this lineup of mine and try to get them the next time. So going over everything else that happened in the week, over the weekend, the Dodgers won the series against the Rockies, which was good, but dropped the game to the Reds. And like I said, now they're back at a game and a half behind the Rockies, and it's looking more and more like the Dodgers are going to actually need to win out in the NL West, because it looks like they may not be able to catch the Brewers or the Cardinals for the wild card spot, which makes this weekend series with the Cardinals that much more important. First they got to take care of the Reds, who are the last place in their division, and like I said, they just got to take care of business there, man. They called up Julio Urias, so hopefully he looks pretty good. I know he got surgery. He's been rehabbing and all that stuff down in the minors, and like I said, hopefully he can come up and have a good start. I'm guessing maybe it looks like he might start at the end of this series or in the next series, but they're gonna want to see how he can do in case they want to add him to the extended roster if they make the playoffs, or when they make the playoffs. I'm going to be optimistic about it when they make the playoffs. And like I said, we'll see about that. But yeah, like I said, Dodgers, it's first and foremost, they got to take care of business against the Reds before we can look ahead to the Cardinals. Moving down the 5 to the Angels. It looks like, again, the Angels are completely out of it, so it doesn't really matter for this season. But it looks like Ohtani's elbow is worse than initially thought. They said that there's a little bit more damage in there, or a little bit that the grade of it or whatever is a little bit worse than they thought. But they're still gonna have him just hit and DH or whatever for the team. Which I know he's hitting very well. Has a strong case for AL Rookie of the Year just because based on his hitting stats. But call me crazy. I don't think that's a good idea. Like I said, he already had the UCL sprain or strain or whatever was going on in there, some damage, where Tommy John was a serious option. And they just pretty much said, nah, you know what? Nah, we'll just let him still hit. That won't do anything to it. And then it turns out, actually, it did. It's actually not. It's actually a little bit worse than they thought. And they're like, you know what? Nah, we'll just have him. We'll just have him reconsider it later. I don't think that's a good idea for him in the long run, especially considering how young he still is, where he can, relatively afford to miss a season to recover from Tommy John. That'll help him get better so he can pitch, because he's a pretty damn good pitcher. And on top of that, he still pitched. He pitched a little bit not too long ago. So this is crazy. It just seems this is crazy to me. that, like I said, the season's going nowhere. We already know he can hit because he's been hitting well all season. Just shut him down. Just let him get him the stuff he needs to help him in the long run. Like, this is crazy. This is freaking crazy. He's so young and he's so talented, and he is so, like, seriously going to be a star, going to be a good player, so much potential to be a good player. Like, don't mess this up, Angels. Like, they already messed up a lot of stuff. Don't mess this up. But then that's baseball. Quickly with the NBA, not much going on with the NBA, but the NBA Hall of Fame, the 2018 class was inducted, and congrats to all the new Hall of Fame inductees. A lot of names that you know, a lot of names you don't know. Big names, obviously, on this were the ones that people I grew up watching. Ray Allen, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Grant Hill, four of the greatest of all time, obviously, and especially with two of the greatest point guards of all time, and arguably the greatest shooter of all time. But then they also got everyone else. Congrats to everybody else. Mo Cheeks, a great player in his day, and also known most recently as a coach. Mo Cheeks, Lefty Drysdale, college coach. Then we also had Tina Thompson and WNBA beast. Dino Raj, I guess, is a European player. Charlie Scott, an old time player. Ora Mae Washington, Katie Smith, again, two more great female athletes, and then Rod Thorne, great coach, executive, and then Rick Welts, another guy who, just like I said, just a contributor. And also Doris Burke got inducted on the the electronic journalism side of things or whatever. Shout out to Doris Burke. That's for you, girl. Like I said, but yeah, again, congrats to all the great players. Go watch their YouTube highlights and all that stuff just for a look into why that people love them so much, especially the Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Ray Allen, and Grant Hill. Go watch Grant Hill, another just a tough case of a career cut short by injuries. Him, Tracy McGrady, guys like that, way up there, and also not just his NBA highlights, but his college highlights as well. So yeah, go check those out. And let's see, that's about it from the world of sports. And last but not least, I touched on it a little bit last episode, but we sadly lost Mack Miller to an overdose. And like I said, I just feel it would be more appropriate to talk about it like on a separate episode, not from like what it was last time. And like I said, it's this one really fucking sucks, man. This one really sucks because he was beloved by so many people, both for his music and for the person he was, and he always made good music. I started listening to him like pretty early on, like when he made Kids and all that stuff, and he was doing like the backpack rap and early Taylor Gang stuff, and Most Dope and all that stuff like that. Best Day Ever was like one of the best, one of the better mixtapes of that era. The era that everyone came up from, listening to. It was right after the initial like mixtape era. It was like right when I was like just finishing high school and starting college. It was like Mac Miller, Currency, Wiz Khalifa. I guess you could even say like Lupe Fiasco. But he was a little bit before that. But just like that era. Of like early K Dot, like early Kendrick Lamar. There's that stuff too. But like, a lot of great mixtapes. And he was one of the good ones. And the thing was, he always made good music. But the thing was, he didn't just like stay. Like, so many people just like stick with what they know, but he was much more than a rapper. He was like an artist. 'Cause as you've seen, like if you haven't seen, go watch some of his videos where he's a true musician. He's playing the piano, great piano player, plays guitar, plays drums, all that stuff. Go watch his Rhythm Roulette. He actually lays down the bass and the keys and stuff on it too. It's good. But he was always changing his sound, and it was cool as a fan to watch him evolve as an artist. Like I said, from like like the traditional like kind of like freestyling over boom bap beats, and then into like the backpack rap. Then he had Faces, which was much more of a change, and it really showed people like, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing, and he got on more, like crazier instrumentals, and there's much more instrumentation on it, and a lot more experimental as far as like what he wanted to do with it. And then all of a sudden he started putting more stuff out as Larry Fisherman, his producer alias. And like I said, if you haven't heard it yet, it's an early mixtape. It's from like 2013 or something. But it's Stolen Youth by Vince Staples, and it's completely produced by Mac Miller as Larry Fisherman, and it is great. It is like I said, early Vince Staples. There's a lot of great features on it. Schoolboy Q's on it. I think like Absol's on it, Danny Brown's on it, I think too, stuff like that. But it's good, and it's just, if you want to hear like that was like one of the earliest Larry Fisherman only things, and if you want to hear some really good production and just like want to hear it like stuff from him, it's great. Like I said, it was just cool to watch him evolve, and just to keep on changing, and but his sound may have changed, or the sophistication and everything may have changed in his music, but no matter what, though, he was always Mac Miller. That's why you see it so many times, especially going from where he was to as where he started out to be, or where he started out from, and how popular he grew to be. Like I said, he was a top name, and everyone knew him and stuff. And so many times that happens. You call guys sellouts or this or that or whatever, but you never said that about Mac Miller, because he was always still Mac Miller. And like I said, he was true to who he was, true to his sound, true to his fan base, all that stuff. But more importantly than his music, he was just a good, genuine, like true person. Like that's, and after he passed, and everyone's like, all the stuff everyone was saying about him, everyone has had something good to say about him as a person. Like, there hasn't been any form of slander or anything. No one has anything bad to say about him, about the person that he was, about how genuinely positive he was, how much he supported not just his friends, but other art. He wanted to work with other artists, and he's worked with some great musicians, popular guys, not so popular guys, but who are known within their respective communities in music. Like, loved, and it's such a wide range of it as well, and so many people loved him, and it sucks, man. And to me, all the good things that they're saying about him speaks more volumes than what he did as a rapper, in the booth and stuff. And as much as that touched a lot of people and stuff, and he will be missed. It's tough. This really sucks, and if you're struggling the way that he was, that's part of what made him so likable, I guess, was because he was so transparent about his feelings through his music and stuff. And but if you're struggling in the way that he is, just know that there's people out there that care for you. There's people out there that love you, and you just gotta, there's outlets, there's other outlets out there to help you cope. You just, like I said, it's just, you gotta find them, and hopefully this is the final straw that breaks the camel's back, that gets, that gets people off this stuff, man, because it's not good, and it's, like I said, it's just no bueno, and like I said, it's tough. And I'm not gonna judge anybody on their journey, but if you're gonna, cope with your demons and stuff in that way, do it responsibly. Please do it responsibly. So, like I said, I'm not here condoning it, but I can't tell you what to and not to do. And if you do whatever you do to cope with your demons, do it responsibly. That's all I can really say at this point. But go listen to some more Mac Miller. Listen to some of his new stuff. His new stuff is pretty hard to listen to now, considering all things considered. But it's still great. It's hard to listen to, and it's great in a difficult way. But listen to it; it's good still. Go listen to his old stuff, reminisce about the good old days and all that. And yeah, he will be missed. He will be missed very, very much. And like I said, it's tough. Sorry to end on a solemn note, and then it's just not gonna get any better here. But it's also I think I forgot to mention at the beginning, but as I'm recording today on Tuesday, it is 9/11. 17 years, man. It's pretty nuts. Still remember where I was when I found out. Or I couldn't fully grasp the magnitude of what was happening, but it was still crazy. But like I said, and you know, there's a lot of emotions and a lot of, you know, stuff comes up on this day, you know, and what this means to a lot of people. But you know, it's changed a lot. A lot of things have changed since what happened on this day 17 years ago. And it's just, you know, I'm not gonna tell you what to believe or whatever about today. But all I'm saying is, it's okay. Just you can still show respect for this day, for the 343 firefighters who lost their lives on this day, or you know, and still respectfully, you know, mourn the people the other people who were affected, those who died, and people who are still living with the effects of it. You know, people are still living with the effects of this day, and what this day means to so many people. It's okay to be respectful of this day, and still also be open to discussion about other topics considering this day. I don't want to like go down there right now. It's a different topic for another time. But like I said, there's a lot of interesting and a lot of, you know, dialogue about, you know, about this day. And you know, like I said, just be open to all of it. You know, just be open to all of it, because it's, you know. But at the same time, like I said, you can just take this time to remember how important this day is. As further and further we get from the actual date of 9/11/2001, further and further we get from the importance of this day and how this day has affected so many things, how we live to this day. So like I said, just be open to discussion, be open to all the options, and don't forget this day. You know, like I said, everyone says never forget, but really don't, because it's a very, very important day for a lot of reasons. But yeah, sending lots of love to everybody who's been affected directly and indirectly by the events that happened on this day 17 years ago, and a big ups to all the 343 who lost their lives, you know, trying to protect and save lives. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you guys as always for listening, and like always, if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow along on all the socials. You can just look up at Brown Mamba Radio, Brown Mamba, or my personal stuff, JXCKSXNNN. And like always, everything's on the blog, brownmamba.us. Shout out to the blog boys and blog girls. Yeah, sorry for the kind of solemn ending and stuff like that, but you know, I don't really know if there's any other real like appropriate way to sign off, so I'm just gonna do it the way I've always done it. I'll see you guys at the end of the week, and you know, don't just have a good week, make it a good week. Drink more water. Health is wealth. Be kind to each other. Please be kind to each other, because it's easy to be nice. See you guys on Friday. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.